I like that. I like that. You have to get curious. And so curiosity isn't just about getting curious with the other, what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And what you were saying is, I got to get curious with myself.
Yes.
And so when we think of curiosity as chaos, what we were talking about earlier, we're not going to get curious with ourselves. We're going to get into that sense of control. We're going to get into that sense of trying to manage. We're going to get into the sense of doing everything, quote unquote, right, whatever right is.
Right.
But what you're saying is, no, in order, because there is trouble in this world, here and now, but we already know that. But the deal is, what you're saying is, I got to get curious about what's going on with me. And I don't know if this is true or not true. Is for you, it's like, there's this uneasiness, this chaos, this trouble in the world. Hello, Shannon.
Hello, Chico.
I have changed spots. You're in my spot.
Am I?
Yes, you took my spot.
I did?
Yes.
I seriously
I need to move this.
Don't remember that. Oh, so you can see me. It's
so
a lamp.
I can look at you. We're across from each other in our makeshift studio on our dining room table.
Yes, and we tried recording at your office, and I just think the bandwidth, the Wi-Fi, and everything is a little sketch.
Sus.
Isn't
that a word that they use?
Well, I don't know if they still do, but they did a year ago.
Yes.
And by they, we mean like the young ones.
Yes.
But I think that there's a reason for everything. And so I guess there was a reason that was going to be cut short, that podcast.
Yes. We tried, and then we were going to come over here and move locations, and things got in the way. And we just got back from going to a family wedding up in Colorado. And, our kids, we talked about our kids before, they're 22 and 26. It's like, it was like traveling with kids. We took your parents, but not young, not 22, 26-year-olds. It was like going back in time when we traveled with our kids when they were like 4 and 8 or, 6 and 10.
Yes.
I'm grateful. I love your parents, but I'm glad. Wow, it's different. The role we're in now.
Yes. You just have to buckle up for delays and really plan for that, and it was good. It ended up.
It was awesome, but I got to paint one little picture. We're flying there, and both your mom and your dad, there was Wi-Fi on the plane. They reached over and handed you their phones because we needed them to be entertained. It was like our kids.
Like handing them an iPad or something on a plane.
They needed their Wi-Fi, so I
had to get their snacks and their phone queued up,
and so you were a gracious daughter to your parents, and you plugged them all in, and then we picked them up and we took them, and just it was wonderful.
Well, it reminded me a little bit too, speaking of like traveling with kids and then little kids, and then traveling with, grown parents or whatever. But it reminded me a little bit of how that's all you can focus on without making yourself crazy. And it kind of reminded me in a weird way of the days when I couldn't be on my phone all the time, like on social media or watching TV. I mean, I had to record everything I watched on TV when the kids were young because I wasn't sitting in front of the TV or whatever. And I wasn't reading. I wasn't diving into, my Bible study. I'm back into Bible study after some years of not having
just survival.
Survival and stuff like that. So it did remind me that I only could focus really on my parents and my family and being present. this weekend because I could only focus on
Well,
where.
and I like the word you used right there, present. It was, a family wedding. It was small. It was up in Colorado. And your family, your extended family is tiny. It was your side of the family. You have two first cousins on that side. Their parents, your aunt and uncle, have both, deceased, and your mom's the only one left in that generation.
Yeah.
And so we didn't know a lot of people, even though it was small, but we were both present in getting to know, your cousin's daughter and that
Well,
family
just
and all
the
that.
the human experience. Like we don't even know within your own family. Sometimes you don't even know where they are physically, emotionally, spiritually, all the things that we coach people on, like getting them to and getting them through, and like coaching. That's what we do: counsel and coach people to get them to be the best that they can be spiritually, emotionally, physically, mentally, whatever, emotionally,
Psychologically.
psychologically, whatever words you want to use. And that's their own journey. It's not us that, making
No,
them
we're just coaching.
way,
We're just getting that way.
just coaching. And so, but it was such a great, for me, just to be in the presence of the human experience. I don't know where anybody really it was physically. I mean, you could tell physically sometimes, like my dad, when he would be like, my back hurts and you can't walk. Well, you can kind of assess where he is physically, but you never know what's going on in someone's life. And so it just was nice to be present and experience love because it was a wedding.
It was a wedding, and it was.
And
I
love of
liked it.
family, love of friends, love of human beings. It just
It
in a
was.
beautiful God's creation. It was in Boulder, Colorado, which was, God's. I don't want to say God's country because everything's God's country, but it's just like the
It's
mountains
God's
and the
world.
water and it's God's world. I mean, you can just see God's creation.
It was beautiful, but that brings us to today's episode.
Well, I was getting there.
Okay, you were.
Yes.
I'm curious.
Oh, see, I know. It's like, I mean, can't you just be in the present? I mean, so another thing is that we have no idea when this will air. And so, it's always interesting to see that the world changes but doesn't change, or God changes, or God never changes, but the
God
world,
never changes.
right, but the world can kind of change. And so our message, whenever it airs, will be the same as it is today, because God is never changing, that it will be the same. And so I think that we are going to talk about getting curious. And I think we were able to get curious with strangers this weekend, as well as family that we have known since birth and share DNA with me. Um, we were able to practice this, what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about getting curious, right?
We are in curiosity, and we hear that term all the time. And the crazy thing is, this wedding, there wasn't any little kids. There was no ring bearers. There was no, flower girls. It was this couple in their late 20s that, your cousin's daughter, so your cousin getting married. But man, curiosity is what little kids do. They come to the world with curiosity. When they're 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, they don't stop asking questions. It is how they learn. It's how they
Right.
do
When
things.
we dated, your brother was how old? 9 at that time?
Yeah, when we first started dating, he was 8, but
Yeah.
9, 10. He was 10 years old, and I think about that. I was living in Colorado, and we took him camping, and then dropped him off at a summer camp in Colorado, and he came up, and he's 10 years old, and we're in my truck, and he's sitting between the two of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're driving up in the mountains, and we're going to go camp out and go fishing, and really cool experience. But I remember curiosity. He's 10 years old and his mind is just on explosion overload. It's
Yeah, I mean, I looked at you at one point and kind of mouthed, "Does he ever stop asking questions?" And it was
yes.
questions. It wasn't really talking. I mean, and then we camped out that night, and that like what we thought was a motorcycle gang. We don't know what it was, but it was a bunch of motorcycles that came up. And I mean, he could not stop asking, "Can bears get in through the tent? Is this tent bear proofed?" And then people proof and whatever. And I was like, we can't answer those questions. I mean, no, it's probably not bear proofed or people proof or whatever, because Chico and I aren't known for our preparation in anything. I mean, it's not like I don't even think we had bear spray. And
No, we didn't.
you know,
But
he just kept asking all the questions that we couldn't necessarily answer, but it was normal. It's normal for a young child to ask the question and for the adult not to get ruffled um, by the questions. You know, you don't look at it's like the Curious George books. You can kind of see it as annoying. I thought it was a little annoying, but I never looked at him and was like, why would you ask such questions? Like, why are you even thinking about that? Like, you know,
yeah, and so when I talk about curiosity, Shannon, what do you think of when I say, "Hey, did how to get curious?" When you're in relationship with a spouse, when you have adult children, when you're curious with your parents that are aging, with wait, I mean, when you have it, when you're an employee or an employer, what does it mean? What do you think I mean, or what when people hear, "Hey, get curious"? What do you think of?
I, I, well, I think of when I hear the word curious, I literally I think of like Curious George, like kind of
Like that old children's book?
yeah, the little
Okay.
monkey that just would get into everything and just be like curious, curious. Oh my gosh, she's so curious. And like I think of our children. I mean, one of them could not keep a drawer shut for a second. He had to look at every content, every little item in the
So
content
when you
of
think of
every drawer. It's
so
like,
when you think of curious, you think of our it brings you back to those memories of our son pulling out open drawers and kind of going through stuff and always exploring and stuff like that. So when you think of curious, it just does it keep you at that stage of talking to kids or being a kid?
well, a
What
little bit,
what
but
what about
it
what is
also keeps me in a state of wanting to control the conversation because
so
um,
curiosity is about control?
well, no, no, no. Curiosity, like when someone is being curious, like I'm curious to see if this oil based paint will stick to the wall or not. It's like, okay, wait, how can I control that narrative in someone's head? Like that curiosity, like,
So it does have to do with control.
yeah, 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 but mine, but not, um, yeah, but
I'm not sure that's what I'm talking about when I talk about curiosity.
I know it's not. That's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
Okay. So can we let people, understand where I'm coming from for a second? And then I want you to define the curiosity. What I'm saying is that
And that's why I'm asking you
that's
the
what you were
question.
asking.
I'm getting curious with you.
I know, but now you're trying to control the narrative.
No, I'm asking
uh,
you. So you're
listen.
saying that
Okay.
curiosity is
Stop.
about control?
No, I'm trying to just process this just a second.
Okay. I'm curious.
I then listen.
I was just curious.
That's
You
what
said it had to
curiosity
do.
is about, is listening.
It is about listening, but
You
it's
asked
about
me.
exploring more.
I know, and you asked me, and I'm just trying to process. Just hold on a second,
Okay.
okay? I'm trying to process. I've never really thought about it. Why we do this, okay? We're processing out loud, remember?
Yes, we are processing out
So
loud.
I'm saying, I'm just going back in my memory and I'm thinking, like, when people say,
So let me frame it up real quick for you. You said it's like an oil-based paint and needing to control if that
no,
works
it's
or
not
not.
an oil based paint, okay?
Okay.
You're not listening.
Okay. I was just
What I'm saying is, I'm thinking about the chaos of curiosity in my mind.
oh, I like that. chaos of curiosity.
Okay.
Okay, so let's break that down. What is the chaos of curiosity?
I'm planning on breaking it down.
Okay.
You just need to listen.
I am listening. I'm
Okay.
listening. I'm asking the question. I like the chaos of curiosity.
You're still
Help me
talking.
understand that.
I know, you're still talking.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is that when you ask me what I think of when I think of curiosity or curious, you asked me what I think of, and I said, I think of like Curious George, the little children's storybook of the monkey. Now, some people may not know that reference because we're old now, but so if you don't know that reference, it's this little monkey that just is so curious and just gets into everything. And then I use the example of our kids not wanting to let anything in a drawer go unnoticed. And it's like, oh my gosh, get out of the drawers, quit being curious. I need you to stop being curious. And then I use the example of if let's I use the example of like paint.
Okay, can I pause real quick? I really want to pause real quick and just track with me. I like those examples that you're giving. The Curious George to our boys getting into all sorts of drawers. And I like the word you use or the phrase, the chaos of curiosity.
I'm getting there.
I know. I'm just trying to frame it up. Just track with me. This is what we're doing right here. Is I like this. I like that you're painting a picture, and so the picture that I'm getting, it's good. I like it, but it's like when you think of curiosity, it for you it brings up kind of this chaos, this with people exploring, with our kids exploring, with sometimes when you think of curiosity, it's like uneasiness, this trouble and stuff like that.
Yes. Both of our kids at different times, I'll ditch the oil-based paint analogy because I don't think you're getting that. Like it's the
No, I get the
when you
oil-based
have
paint.
a curious mind and you're constantly seeking you're curious as a child, you get away with a whole lot more. Like both of our kids, they're 4 years apart at different times, brought the water hose inside. Put the water hose. The first one put it through the mailbox because he was curious as to what was going to happen. He didn't know what was going to happen. He was curious. He's like, "Oh, I think I'm going to put the hose in the mailbox, and then I'm going to turn the water on." And then he's like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know that was going to happen." And then the other one took it in like a lasso, like just curious to know what happens when you like lasso the water hose in the living room. So
let's pause for a second. So pause for a second.
Chaos of curiosity.
Yes. So pause for a second. I'm tracking with you. Okay. Just go with me. It's like so for you, when I ask the question, what do you think of with curiosity? It brings back those memories, when our kids were young. Or I do like the oil-based paint analogy. It's like, man, I want to get things done. So curiosity, what we're talking about and what we're going to unpack today is a little different than what you think of when you think of curiosity. What you think of with curiosity is like, man, our boys, my little brother who's now 41, when he was 10, just nonstop asking questions, nonstop for our boys getting into drawers. Curious George, the little children.
Dennis the Menace.
Dennis the Menace was
curious.
So curious.
Oh my God!
But it's like, okay, if you're painting your house and you're going, this oil-based paint, is this going to work? Is it going to stick? It's like it's like this lack of control.
Yes.
And so when you think of curiosity, is almost that lack of control.
Yes. I mean, and Dennis the Menace was the same way. And yet they called the movie literally Menace. He was a menace.
And so when you think of curiosity, you think of a menace. I like that. And that's not what we're talking about. But at the same time, it is cool to see people wrestle. And I like the chaos of curiosity.
So when you tell people in a session or in coaching or counseling or therapy or couples, when we talk about that, if you just say, "Hey, why don't you just get curious?" or can I get curious with you? And whatever. I mean, how can you define what you are trying to get at, or give an example of how you're trying to like pull something out of them or move them forward instead of
Yes.
it being a conversation stopper for people that maybe will I'm not triggered or activated by the word curious or can I ask you a curious question? If you say that, I'm not activated by that anymore or whatever, but I could see myself not understanding what you're getting at and then thinking, I don't that is chaos to me. So can you explain a little bit more your, take on the chaos? Is that making sense? Is that
Yes,
a straight up
it
question
makes
or
no, I
just
like that.
asking you?
That's a curious question right
Yeah.
there. And I think before really defining that question is giving the framework. When we talk about curiosity, all of us are coming uh into the space that we're having conversations with people. And if we think about the words have meaning and words are powerful. And for some people, curiosity is like, oh no, that brings up old messages, old tapes, or something like that. But what curiosity does in relationship, in engaging with people, it all of a sudden it gets you out of yourself and really more into the other.
Yeah.
C.S. Lewis quoted, and I think it was Mere Christianity. He said he was talking about a truly gospel humble person. A truly gospel humble person is not someone that thinks less of themselves or stuff like that. Is like you won't really know a truly gospel person just by looking at them. They're not this meek monkey, kind of person. A truly gospel person is really, truly more interested in you. They're not going to be telling you how they're, a nobody or they're no good or stuff like that. They're more interested in you. And so with curiosity, it's really finding out what the other is trying to communicate, understanding the other, uh, pausing when they're getting curious. We did that over and over this weekend
Yeah.
of interacting with different people. One of your cousin's best friends is this woman that I really enjoyed getting to know.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, I just was getting curious with her, and she's our age. And when she was 39, she was they had 5 kids, and her husband died in a tragic car accident.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I was just asking question after question. I got curious about her story,
Yeah.
about what is happening. So when I talk about curiosity, I want to be a man that does not stop getting curious to know what's going on with you, what's driving you, not bring my stuff in and let myself, be known too. To put aside my stuff and find out, okay, what is Shannon telling herself, about this week? This weekend's a good example of, man, how are you doing with your parents as they're aging? I love your parents, but I mean, there was a lot of stuff just to take them to have lunch was a chore.
Yeah. 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 I think,
So do you understand what I'm trying to say about
yeah, yeah, yeah.
curiosity?
I think about, and I want to get to more how you lead people to be curious themselves, be curious about themselves, about whoever they're talking to. I want to talk about that, but let's stick here for a second because I think that what you're saying is things like there's that Maya Angelou quote of like you'll know about a person by the way they make you feel,
Yeah.
when you're away from how they make you feel and things like that. I'm butchering it a little bit, but um, that's what I want. So in my Bible study today, which is, how God works is that I'm in this Bible study where it has daily kind of lessons and that accumulate over a week, like day 1 through 7 or whatever. And then you go, and because we were going to Boulder, I left it at home. It's a lot to carry, and I knew I was going to be babysitting and focused on my parents and things like that. So it's it's not lost on me that I
let's
left.
pause.
What?
Let's pause. I want you to continue that, but I want to come up with a new word. We weren't babysitting. I think the new word that maybe we're gonna implement today here on this podcast is parent sitting. We were
Yes,
parent sitting,
we were
not
parent sitting. Yes.
babysitting. It's like a new word
Well, yeah.
that we're gonna coin it.
Substitute. Yeah.
Yes,
Parent sitting.
we were parent sitting.
Okay. I could probably think of something more catchier as a marketing term, but
Yes.
but yes, it's parent sitting. But the study I was doing today was about how uh, God can and will take care of those anxieties, eh, or those worries, or those curiosities. Like, I don't know how this trip is going to end. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I was so anxious about all the what ifs going into it that I prepped ahead. And then even coming home, getting back into the world, and there's a lot going on in the world right now. A lot. I mean, before we left, there were school shootings, assassinations, like a lot going on in the world that are totally out of our control, but also feed into your fear and your anxiety of the world. Well, the message today was it's on Psalms, the whole Bible study, and so we were studying like Psalms of lament when you're mourning, and how do our desire is just to be with God, be comforted by God, and all the things. But it led in the study, it led us back. It always references different parts of the Bible so that you can incorporate it all. And it referenced um, the part of Scripture in the New Testament where Jesus is being arrested, and some of the people close to him were drawing their swords to stop the injustice of it all. And it was just reading about how Jesus was pleading to God to take that cup from him, even Jesus was, but then ultimately knowing that he had to let God move. And it's like, put up the sword, and it wasn't the message to me, just personally, getting curious with God about how I should be reacting to the world right now, how I should be moving through the world. And the message that continually comes to me is that God is moving, and all I have to do is, stay bold, stay aware, stay in the Word, stay prayed up, all those things, but that God is moving. And so that took curiosity on my part, and not in the chaos of the world. I have to get curious. And so I want people.
I like that. I like that. You have to get curious. And so curiosity isn't just about getting curious with the other, what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And what you were saying is, I got to get curious with myself.
Yes.
And so when we think of curiosity as chaos, what we were talking about earlier, we're not going to get curious with ourselves. We're going to get into that sense of control. We're going to get into that sense of trying to manage. We're going to get into the sense of doing everything, quote unquote, right, whatever right is.
Right.
But what you're saying is, no, because there is trouble in this world, here and now, but we already know that. But the deal is, what you're saying is, I got to get curious about what's going on with me. And I don't know if this is true or not true. Is for you, it's like, there's this uneasiness, this chaos, this trouble in the world. And for you, you're saying when you're spending time in God's word
It's
and
in our own heart too.
processing that, is like
Chaos.
you are going, okay, it reminded you to just rest in
Be still I have that bracelet that says be still.
But for us, curiosity isn't just about holding space for the other and finding out what's going on. Like that example of the woman where I got curious with her and found out that, 17, 18 years ago, her husband died and she's never remarried and she's a go-getter, but finding out, man, what's been that drive raising these 5 kids by herself from, I think, 15 to 8.
But you also didn't should on her.
No.
Which is what we really talk about, not to should on people.
Exactly. But then it's also about, I love your example this morning about you going, man, I had to get curious. What's going on? How come I'm anxious? Where is my fear? I was thinking as you were sharing, you did plan out the trip on us picking up your parents and getting them to the airport. And then, we planned everything, got the rental car and drove them and got them checked in and all those things. You took off all the anxieties that your parents would have.
Yeah.
But you also knew, okay, we better get them to the airport a little early because they're going to be all nervous.
Yeah.
And the little things when it's not babysitting, but it's parent sitting. Mm-hmm. We dropped them off at the hotel, and your mom got all anxious about getting out her itinerary, and you didn't even have to get curious. Sometimes curiosity is you take care of what needs to be taken care of. Right. All the lady needed was the last name, and you just spelled out your maiden name, and boom, it was.
And I didn't have to shame my mom, who is doing what she always did, getting out her phone and saying, "Do you need my confirmation number?" I mean, you used to, before phones, you would have to have a printout of your confirmation number. All the planning that went into traveling before that she was used to. I didn't have to shame her and be like, "Mom, you don't need your confirmation number." I just stepped up and spelled out the last name. And then by the time they even knew what was going on, they had keys in their hand to the room.
And so what else were you gonna share when
I was gonna say that, so that's what I want people to understand, that I think you have sort of, I'm sure other coaches and counselors do this, but in getting curious with other people, clients, you do that. And so you get curious without even using the word curious, And so doing that is helping teach people to get curious with themselves, potentially. And also, it allows you to have the right to be heard, the old young life, saying, after coaching people and getting them to a place where they can hear that, to say, what do you tell yourself? What are you telling yourself? What are you asking yourself? And then they can really launch and their life can be more full, and by looking at their own curiosity. I don't know. I mean, I just think
can I frame that up for you?
Yeah.
There's just a lot in the world, and what we found, and I think you too, and I appreciate the affirmation, and I will step into it. It is a gift that I have when we're talking about getting curious with people, is most people struggle with that because they think of chaos. I like it, I like your example of chaos. It's like, oh, I don't know how to ask those questions. One of our good friends down the street, has cancer. And when everybody found out about it, all our friends and stuff, they didn't know how to even talk to him.
Yeah.
And we just said, just engage. My buddies go, what do I say?
Well,
and stuff like that.
when we personally went through some trouble with one of our kids, that was a pretty public situation, and I had lots and lots and lots of people reach out to me. I mean, whether it was just thinking about you, send, just a text or whatever. I didn't keep record of who reached out to me and who didn't and all that kind of stuff. I sure did appreciate it when people were um, sending thoughts, but when I eventually did have an interaction with one friend, it was, "Are you okay with me being somewhere?" And I'm like, "Why would I not be okay with you being somewhere?" And I said, "I don't know what others are thinking or feeling about me and or my family." And her response was, "I don't think people know what to say."
Yeah.
And I didn't respond to that. But in my head, I'm thinking, well, actually, people did know what to say, even if it was just,
But what was going on? They had these feelings, and the feelings were fear. It's like our friend down the
yes,
street that has cancer, and we love him and are praying for he and his wife, and you're close. We're close to them. People don't know how to interact, and that's a good example. People, I like what you said to that person is, well, people don't know what to say. How come? Because they're feeling it's that chaos curiosity.
yeah,
People want to share. This weekend was a prime example. We're not coaching or counseling family or friends on this trip,
yeah.
and another person on the trip opened up and shared some deep stuff from divorce and all this kind of stuff. It was like wild how people just opened up and shared. And then your
But
cousin's kid,
curiosity includes self reflection and an ability to self express. And so there are a lot of people out there. This woman that lost her husband so young has probably been dying
to
to share
share.
that.
Yeah.
And so she's already done the self curiosity. She already knows what she wants to say. She's just waiting for somebody to ask her.
Well, and I like you said something earlier is when we get curious, uh, you have to be at a place to hear some heavy stuff.
Yes.
You have to be at a place to hear things that you might have feelings of uncomfortableness.
Yeah.
You might have some fear or some shame. Oh, I can't believe I asked that question, or those things. It's like quit thinking about yourself. And
Yeah.
and you said something that's powerful is which I try not to do. I try not to should on others. Oh, you shouldn't feel that way. When you get
You
curious,
shouldn't
you
feel that way, or you should listen to this speaker,
podcast
or you should go to church, or
or
you
you
should, that's shooting on people. I'm just
yes,
defining it.
yes.
It's that shooting on people. But instead, to give people the opportunity to share by asking them curious questions. What are some curious questions in your opinion? Like when you're first teaching people, they don't even know you're teaching them, but it's like if you continually say, "I'm just going to ask you a curious question. Can I get curious with you?" I mean, you just ask that. And then
Well,
how do you,
let me give you one. Here's a good one. And I think I mentioned it to you, but you have two first cousins, Chris and Julie.
yeah.
Uh, and Chris came up to me and asked me, well, how's your brother? And so I said, do you want me to just tell you what, we all say, or do you want the honest opinion? And so he said, no, I want the honest thing. And so it's like, man, people want to know the honest. I'm not going to tell them what I said about your brother, but there's those things of where do we step in? Where do we step in and find out what is the person asking? That example of how do we get to that place of finding out what the person is actually asking? Because sometimes people ask a question and it's the simplest thing is how are you doing today? Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I want to back up just a little bit because I think not on purpose, I think you're simplifying it a little bit. Like, we're not suggesting that you go to a social event and really like try to dig in on people like and that can cause some talking about people, I think, and their business and getting into their
And
business.
yeah, gossip. We don't want to do any of that.
So I'm asking you, like, what are some curious questions? Like, if somebody, and this is in a therapeutic setting where you have to teach and coach. This is why it's good to coach and counsel people on how to get curious with themselves. You're kind of teaching them how to get curious with themselves first because it's just you and them. Like if they come in and they're struggling with their marriage and they are saying, I, you know, well, first of all,
Well, use me as an example.
thoughts and feelings. And like, how does that make you feel? I feel like he never cleans up. And you're like, well, that's not a feeling. And then, it's like the curious questions are, you know, getting people to get to their feelings. How does this really make you feel? And then getting curious as to what would make their life better or marriage better. I mean, how do you get curious? We're not suggesting that you go to the next social event and get curious with everybody, dig deep with everybody. Like, you see what I'm saying?
Yes, I see what you're saying. So,
Example.
a better example of how to get curious is okay. One simple question is okay. What do you tell yourself?
Yeah.
What are you telling yourself about your interaction with your spouse? What are you telling yourself about your interaction with your kids? What are you telling yourself about, your employer or employee?
Yeah.
What is the evidence that you're building a case against this person? Is that evidence actually true? It's like begin to get curious of asking yourself the questions of what's going on with me in that moment.
Yeah.
How am I feeling about this? We talked about attacking your feelings. It's like, what feelings are coming up for you in this moment?
So it really is about getting curious with yourself.
It's big time getting
Even though you're
curious with
asking
yourself.
the questions, getting curious, when you get curious with others, it's going to require them to be curious about themselves, how
Yes.
they're feeling, what they're saying to themselves, what they think the other is saying to them, what they think, oh gosh. Well, and we'll talk more about, I've had this real conviction of messages that we're receiving in today's world. And it was talking to our 26-year-old just yesterday about, I was like, there's such a difference between like technology, media, how we receive messages, all the algorithms. I mean, algorithm wasn't a word that I even knew, however many years ago. And I was just talking about parent sitting and how the difference between their use of technology and ours. And I was just giving the plain example about setting up the Wi-Fi and all that stuff on their phone. But Travis looked at me and said, I don't get it. What are you saying? Because it's not the world. He absolutely cannot relate to the Stone Ages. I mean, but this is the way his brain has been wired. And I think curiosity
Has
helps
been lost.
rewiring the brain,
And
the
it
messages
and
that
it
send
has
on. It's like we're just believing everything we read. We are we are stuck in algorithms. It's really, people act like they're so like, aware, and they have access. They have access to so much information and so much, it's not like the Pony Express, bringing mail to you over a series of 6 months. I mean, it's like we act like we have so much access to so much information but we've lost the personal curiosity connection of like, how is this working?
Yes and no.
Right?
I want
Okay.
to say yes and no. Is like I like that you were reading, doing your Bible study and reading. People lost that connection 2,000 years ago. You know that
Sure.
the
Yes.
Pharisees got stuck in their Jesus came and just turned the world upside down,
Yeah.
especially with his first big preaching, the beatitude. Blessed are the poor in spirit, blessed are those who mourn, blessed are the meek. It's like it was so like all of a sudden it's like holding space, getting curious, finding out what's going on internally. So
Right.
yes, you're correct, but also
Well, I'm
I,
just,
I'm
yeah.
just I'm just saying in a lot of ways is man when we get stuck in our thinking and believe things are a certain way, we stop getting curious.
We're both
We
saying the same thing.
yes, we are saying this the same thing, but at the same time, it's like we stop getting curious. I don't know if he was
Because
in
Travis didn't get curious with me. He was
at
just
all.
like, I don't get it. I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah, and in
I
some
can't relate.
ways, I would
Well,
step back and go, I saw you trying to engage with him, but then he was tired. He didn't give a crap
I was tired
really.
too. I didn't want to.
He didn't really give a crap about what you were saying. He
I
wasn't
get it.
tracking with you. He just wanted to eat. We got him some tacos and he ate and he came back
I
from the
get it. But
football
he
game.
asked the question.
Yeah, but he wasn't engaged. And
So yeah.
I like that. So think about that is when you're interacting with people, if I'm coaching them or doing counseling, is like they are present.
Yes.
Okay. So part of curiosity is also reading the scene to find out, and is this person present? We get into this habit. That's like the habit I was talking about of people walk down the street. Hey, how are you doing? Oh, good day. No, people don't really say, well, it's kind of
That's what
crappy
yes.
and
Okay.
stuff
So
like
that's
that.
why I was saying, it's good to
Read the
really
room.
read the room, but it's also good to be walked through coaching and counseling to be present. Like we all have to learn. It's a practice. It's a and you're good at walking people through that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
Yes.
that.
So um, I think it's a practice. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't happen. I mean, it for you because you are practiced, you are seasoned, you are whatever. It can happen with you at a wedding where you can really connect with friends and family by them just asking a question or by you just
Well,
asking a question. You can lean into that. The
you made that example. You've told friends it's like so and so just opened up and shared with Chico. It just happens.
yes, yes. And there's a safety and a trust that goes along with you because you are a professional, and so anonymity and you're in recovery. I mean, anonymity and confidentiality is uh, well, it's part of your job first of all, but then it's just part of your character, and so it just yeah, people will tell you stuff,
And I'm not even
but
so in some ways I'm not even trying to get curious and people are just opening
exactly,
up. And
yes,
but getting back to that place of curiosity, it is like working a new muscle that we lost. And what I want to say
that's
is
what I'm. Yes,
when we were kids, we were curious.
yes.
Even if you weren't an extroverted kid, you were still curious. You might have been opening the drawers. You might not have been asking a lot of questions, but you were exploring. Even little kids, little infants, man, they're looking around all over the place.
Well, they're curious.
They're
Yes.
curious. And what happens uh, I think in just being in life in the world and being hurt and having our feelings, you know, be affected is we've lost that art of curiosity.
Well, we're
And
good at squelching it. I mean, I, as a parent, can be good at squelching it if I view it as chaos.
yes,
I mean, I'm telling my kids, you don't need to be so curious.
yes,
I mean, like,
but
please quit bringing the water hose in the house. Like, I'm
that wasn't
sorry.
healthy. But it was like it was like, man, if we really think about it, curiosity is where we learn.
Yes. And instead of reacting, and I can now make amends to my kid. I've already apologized to my kids about so many things that I'm, whatever. But I can now, instead of reacting, um, I mean, not now because I don't have little kids, but that's why probably why grandparents are so much more gentle with kids, because they allow the curiosity. They're like, it's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. Like, let them be curious. And it's like, you know,
Yeah, the world's not going to fall apart. Your kid's not going to,
I mean,
you're going to make it.
My reaction to the water hose was not anger. It was like,
Uh-oh.
WTF, like what is happening? But there are certain things where a child would just be curious, where I reacted in anger, like screaming, yelling, like slamming doors, like whatever. And
but that's
gonna,
what I'm
like,
trying to say is
break that
we had that in us when we were born, when we were growing. Our minds were exploding, and what we're trying to say today, is, man, get curious, hold space for the other, find out what people are feeling, help them attack their feelings. First and foremost, get curious about what's going on with you. When we lose that curiosity, we lose connection.
Right.
We lose the ability to be intimate with the other.
Right.
My definition of intimacy, I mean, curiosity is all about intimacy. Intimacy, into me you see.
Yeah.
Intimacy. And
I'm not sure that's your
it's
definition.
not my definition.
But yes,
but it's
you
a
like
definition I use.
Whoever coined it,
yes,
you
you're
like
correct.
using it.
That's a good.
I just want to make sure.
Yes, I did not come up with that.
People drag other podcasters for stealing stuff.
I did not come up with it. I've been
But
using it for 25, 30 years.
You have, and it's good. It's very good. It's like assuming.
Yes. I did not come up with an ass of you and me.
Right.
But the more we can remember that, man, it's like I want to learn about myself, but also I want to learn about the other. It's like when I stop getting curious with you, what's going on with you, what's driving you, it creates a wedge between you and I.
And you have to be still and be present. I'm going to use probably the last example, but as we've been talking, I realized that we spent a lot of time in the car with my parents too. And there's nothing better than getting like a teenager in the car, trapping them where you can learn so much. But so we spent a lot of time in the car, and we were just talking. And I mean, on the way home is when my mom said that her dad, my grandfather, that our oldest is named after,
Travis,
Papa to me. But she said, "Oh yeah, Papa was totally OCD type A, like
perfectionist." And you came home.
I never knew that because he was my grandfather. And, and we laughed this weekend about how he would put on the Chuck Berry record, My Ding-a-Ling. For those of you that don't know, that's a real song. It is. Google it.
Back in the 60s.
Hilarious. My Ding-a-Ling. And he would put it on, and it would send my grandmother over the edge. We didn't know why. We were kids. I mean, But
you and your cousin Julie were talking about it.
He was the last thing from a perfectionist in my eyes, because he didn't have to be around me. But I realized that's what my mom was raised with, and I don't know. It's just I've never known that, and so it just took getting curious.
The cool part.
We asked a curious question about.
But what the cool part is you even take. I love that you had your Bible study and you were getting curious about what's going on, but you were really in this place of curiosity, understanding your roots this weekend. You were bringing things up. You brought up some different examples. This is in my DNA. You were getting curious about, man, what you're learning as a 55-year-old woman, more about who you are and where your roots came from. And we all have that. Yeah. And that's that place.
Well, I think we can pass on in our bones, you pass on like these either anxiety traits and okay, and then we probably need to kind of wrap up, but I have this awesome doctor. And so I was talking to her about my anxiety, and she said to me, okay, is it more mental, like racing thoughts, like waking up and not being able to sleep because your mind is racing, 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 and the thoughts that you have and all that kind of stuff? Or is it more physical, like rapid heart rate? Feel like you have an elephant on your chest, like the tight chest and the shortness of breath, all that stuff. And I was like, absolutely, it's more physical for me. I don't really necessarily know what triggers it or whatever. Okay. And then we can get in a conversation about hormones and all the things. But that this weekend is like getting curious with myself about what it is. Like she just asked a curious question as my doctor. Is it more mental thoughts? Is it more physical? And so she led me through that exercise of just being, I mean, of course, she's my doctor, so she should be curious. But I'm realizing that it is from generations. It is in your bones, this physical reaction that can be
So,
dealt with.
so
Yeah.
pause for a second.
Okay.
So, as we start to wrap up this episode
Yeah.
about curiosity, I like what you're saying. It's in our bones. So, if we think of curiosity as chaos, I think that was imprinted on you
Yes.
before we had kids, before I
Yes.
met you. It's like, no, we got to do things a certain way. And so, you might have some people that, hey, poo-poo curiosity because it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit their worldview. It doesn't fit that thing. It's like, no, we need to be curious. We need to be
Right.
at that place where we can hear the other and find out what's going on.
Right.
Curiosity is that place of first finding out what's happening with you. What are your thoughts and feelings? Breaking those down. Then the next thing to do is then when you understand what's going on with you, then you can hold space and get curious and ask, okay,
Yes.
what did you tell yourself? What is the messages? It is all of a sudden is finding out. And sometimes curiosity is not even really, you don't even really have to say much at all.
Yeah.
But to make that eye contact, to let them know you're that safe place that they can share.
Right.
Is we had
Instead of
those
trying to eliminate what makes you uncomfortable.
well, and the deal is people we all have stuff. We all
Right.
have hurts and habits and hangups that we struggle with.
Right.
It's the human condition.
Right.
And until you can really recognize that, it doesn't make you less than or better than. It's like what C.S.
Right.
Lewis was saying about a gospel humble person. They don't think of themselves as less than or better than. They think of themselves less.
Right.
And so when we get curious, we're thinking of ourselves as less.
Right.
We think not less than, but
Right.
we're not really thinking about ourselves. Then
Right.
we can be at that place to where people feel seen and heard. Because that's all people want to do. It's like our neighbor down the street that has cancer
Yeah.
is like, how do you connect with him? Ask him how he's doing. It's
Right.
that simple.
Right. Right.
Well, I don't know what to say. How are you doing?
Right.
It's really that simple.
It
When
is,
we can
yeah.
get to that place of curiosity, it's really that simple. It's like, how come you're anxious? What were you? We haven't broken it down. We could have spent the episode breaking down those old messages that you told yourself.
Yeah. We'll
But
have time for that.
we will have time. But I want
Not
to
right now.
encourage
Okay.
y'all as you think about this episode is like, man, curiosity is where real connection happens. Curiosity is where freedom happens.
Yeah.
You're not going to say anything wrong. Get away. When you're curious, you're not getting in to fix them or should on them.
Right.
You're getting in there to hold
Or get
space
your point across.
or get your point
Or
across.
eliminate whatever is making you uncomfortable about them. Eliminate it.
Yes. And it's like, wow, that's where connection is.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's good.